Good morning, everyone. Thanks to join me today. Today, we're going to see the evolution of the refrigeration controlling solution for medical application, mainly. So I would start why this presentation could be important and start to be so important nowadays. First of all, is because the healthcare service market is continuously growing since the last few years. And we had a very big boost related to the pandemic, thanks or due to the COVID-19 situation. Of course, in parallel, we have also the attention that has grown on a product storage solution, as fridge or refrigerators and all other solutions related to that are increasingly important because the high economical and also strategic value of the products that are treated in this kind of application. So the mission critical in this case is the reliability of the whole system. But let's have a summary on what we will see today. First of all, the market value and the trends with some numbers. Second thing is the temperature role and why it's so important to keep it monitored during the whole lifetime of the products. The scientific application in terms of units and final application, of course. The main scientific market needs, just a brief resume, and then our answer to these kind of needs. As Carel, we are offering a new controller, electronic controller for this scientific application. We will see later on some features, and then all the business model that have been achievable thanks to this controller. So, starting from the numbers, what is the market value? It's estimated that for 2024, the total market value will be 1.7 trillion. That it's an impressive number in terms of dollars. And the 30% of this is represented by the cold chain portfolio products. Another interesting thing is that in 2020, the business of delivering cold chain reached $17.2 billion. That's also impressive, but most impressive are the growth rate of this kind of market. That is plus 32% from 2018 and the estimation for the 2024. And what is really important is that the cold chain growing rate is much bigger than that. It's plus 48%. So, what are the main trends of scientific application? First of all, we have the increasing inequality demands. It means that all the products that are stored and treated in this market needs to be constantly controlled during the entire product lifetime. And then it's important also to select the right monitoring system to keep all this data logged. Then the second is related to the worldwide distribution of this product. So it's important to keep the temperature monitored with all the storage condition monitored during the whole transportation of these products. And there is also a shifting in freight transportation, and one of the biggest trends are using some rented containers that are very, very well insulated. So they don't need to be connected to the electric power supply. The third, that is the simplest, let's say, but depending on the competitiveness of this market and the big attention on margins, it's really important to have a complete understanding about the total costs of ownership of these kinds of solutions and products. But what is the temperature role in these processes? So what are the main problems related to an out-of-range temperature? First, we need to consider that most of the products that need to be preserved in certain conditions are made by protein chains mainly. And think about an egg. What happens with the temperature? It starts cooking. So the color is starting changing, then the density will change, and also the organoleptic properties, everything. So if we look what happened to scientific products, we have an acceleration of the degradation of the product itself, and degradation means that all the therapeutic properties are lost, and also during this degradation, potential toxic products could be formed. So let's look about the solution that we have to mitigate this phenomenon. That is, first, select the right storage solution in terms of devices. The second is select the right devices to keep monitor the temperature during the whole lifetime. And then the third is creating some protocols that are called also cold chain to keep monitored all these parameters during the entire lifetime. What are the main applications that we're talking about? First of all, cooler or refrigerator and freezers. In this case, the refrigerator part is well known. The technology is completely known and also derived from the food service market usually. But also we have some applications, some special application where we can reach up to -50 to -90 Celsius degrees that needs something more complex. For example, cascade systems or other technical solutions, much more advanced than what we find in common fridge. Where we can find these kind of units? Of course, pharmacies, hospitals, and laboratories mainly. So if in pharmacies we find mainly low-risk medicines and vaccines, we extend the usage of the units, but we increase the risk of bad conservation of the products. And this is more related to some hospitals application. That's why the regulations are more strict. What about laboratories? Usually they have to preserve biological samples and also reagents to do their own analysis. In some cases, these reagents are very, very expensive. So that's why it's really important to keep them preserved in the right way. What are the main needs of that market? We have seen it, but just resume. First, keep storage condition monitored during the whole lifetime. And how can we do that? Right now, there are many data loggers, that are external devices, both digital or analog, that can be used. But there's also the possibility to ask the refrigeration controller doing this kind of recording in terms of temperature. Then, other side, we have to increase the performances of the unit, because nowadays it's really important to keep an eye on the energy consumption. In this case, performances, how can be achieved? Using and driving variable speed modulating loads in the specific variable speed compressors or modulating fans. Performance that not have to be intent only reduction energy consumption, but also with the possibility to reach ultra-low temperature, as we have seen before. The third is the reliability, that it's really important to have a safe solution to keep everything correctly monitored in all working conditions. It means during power failure or in heavy-duty environment, for example. Then we have IoT services that are expanding all the capabilities of these three main needs. First, IoT services can help automatize all the actions that have to be taken daily by the operator, so it's easier to be compliant to the regulations. Of course, it's possible to have remote support and interact remotely with the units, and it helps to have a more effective intervention in case something gone wrong. This is our solution, and it's called IJS. We are really glad to present it here as a premiere in Chilventa. And this is the electronic controller dedicated to scientific application, refrigerated scientific applications. We have a dedicated interface for a much easier and intuitive usage. Then it's possible to extend all this interaction via app thanks to the connectivity, that it's NFC or Bluetooth. We have two dedicated apps that are Applica and Controlla. Applica for service and technical user that give you the possibility to have access to the wall parameters inside the unit. You can control 100% of the parameters, of course. Then we have Controlla for the end users. Who is the end user? Mainly are pharmacists or hospital personnel that needs to interact with the controller to save and log all the temperatures manually to be compliant to some regulations. It's important to keep monitored everything, even during blackouts, as we have seen before, and this is why we developed the new battery backup port options, that it's capable to manage an external battery. Then, as we have seen before, sometimes it's important also to manage ultra-low temperature application, and that's why we have developed some specific algorithms that are able to manage cascade systems and gives different priorities and specific alarms for that kind of applications. Then, last but not the least, we have an RS485 Modbus port that is available and embedded into the controller, so no external devices needed, and you can have a directly connection to supervisory systems or some other remote controller solutions. Let's have a deeper focus on who are the end users and the different business cases and the daily usage of this controller. So think of a pharmacist. What should he do every day? First of all, he needs to store and check the conditions inside the units. For this kind of application, we have seen why it's so critical. And how can he do that? Through the dedicated keypad of the IJS or expanding this capability using a dedicated app. Thanks to the Bluetooth, it's possible to have access to all the temperature logs inside the controller. And it's possible to have access to up to 5 months of internal logs. So it means I always have available the temperatures that I need to show and manage. Second, the reliability of this system is central. So we need to keep this monitoring session even when we have a blackout, for example. And as we already said, it's possible to connect directly an external battery, no matter what the size is, depending on the customer's needs, of course, that doesn't need any external recharge system and can be directly connected to keep the controller alive even during power failures. Then we have another player that are the pharma chains. Here we have many different facilities that are working almost in the same way. But what is important is that all the units that are working in these premises can be connected all together, and it gives the possibility to have a unique interface where you have everything under your control. From a plant point of view, but also you can connect different plants to all these kind of portals. So you can have access to single or multi-plants analysis, find which are the most virtuous consumption profile, and extend these good habits to all the fleet that you are managing. The other side of the moon are the service company that needs to do and needs to set up all these things. But what can they offer thanks to these technologies? It's important because they can have access from remote to every single unit that they installed. So they can interact in another location. I have a better understanding on what's going on and arrive already prepared on field with the right spare parts, with the clear ideas on how to intervene and what to do on field. Then, of course, this will save hours in terms of analysis, in terms of field work in this real application, and also gives the possibility to extend the unit's lifetime. Why this? Thanks to predictive maintenance, because you have all the working data of all the units, so you know exactly when it is the right moment to intervene and start doing some works on the units. So, just summarizing everything, 3 main takeaways. First, in scientific and medical application, it's really, really important to preserve products' quality. How can we do that? With defined procedures, so the cold chain, and with specific devices, as we have seen, freezers, coolers, and ultra-low temperature freezers. Second, it's really important to monitor all the storage conditions for the entire product lifetime, from the cradle to the grave. Why this? We have seen potential toxic product related to degradation. Third, the reliability of this monitoring system is crucial in all the working conditions. So normal conditions, blackout conditions, harsh environments have to be 100% sure to keep the monitoring session active. So, I'm Andrea Bianchi, application specialist for refrigeration at Carel. This is my email, and we are here please come to our booth, Hall 5, stands 306-308. Thank you.